Hello there, good evening and welcome. This is Abuja Dispatch, and like we always tell you every week on this program, it is a platform that we specially create to bring to your living rooms those events and issues which have shaped the thoughts of many in the outgoing week. Adegboyega Arogbodo is my name. Let's start off with those stories that made up our news headlines in the last 7 days.
President Muhammadu Buhari has called on executives of banking institutions in West Africa to forge a closer collaboration to tackle economic challenges confronting the sub-region. Receiving a delegation from the West African Bankers Association (WABA), led by its president, Theano Seydou Nohuru Sai, the president noted that the sub-region must find a common understanding and ground to address low cases of financial services and recovery from post-COVID-19 pandemic. President Buhari told the association, which brings together over 250 commercial banks and 15 institutions from across West Africa, that for many centuries African countries have traded with one another without a formalized and structured system. The Nigerian leader expressed confidence that the rollout of the African Continental Free Trade Area would be a turning point in how African countries trade with one another. And the federal government has assured farmers of the availability and constant supply of fertilizer products at affordable rates to enhance sustainability of food security in the country all year round. This is even as the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative (PFI), managed by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority (NSIA), boasts of providing over 50,000 direct and indirect jobs through local production of the product. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the NSIA, Mr. Uche Oji, disclosed these at the weekly media briefing with State House correspondents organized by the Presidential Communication Team at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. Mr. Oji allayed fears that the problem of scarcity in potash, which is one of the raw materials components used in manufacturing fertilizer, has been resolved, as the country is expected to receive shipments of over 105,000 tons from Russia and Canada in coming days. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday received Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, who paid him a thank-you visit at the presidential villa Abuja in the aftermath of the presidential inauguration of 23.5 billion naira World Bank-assisted upgraded Bauchi Township water supply scheme. Addressing the delegation led by the governor, President Buhari thanked him for assembling a high-powered delegation for the visit and promised to look into requests by the state government to complete ongoing federal government projects in need of urgent attention. The Bauchi state governor said the state has benefited so much under the present administration, highlighting significant projects in the education sector, youth development, industrial training fund, agro-processing, infrastructure and housing scheme. The All Progressives Congress (APC) has inaugurated a 61-member Ekiti State Gubernatorial Campaign Council ahead of the governorship elections. Inaugurating the council in Abuja, APC National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu charged the committee to work with the best of their abilities to deliver the party's mandate and not come home crying. The Senator Adamu-led National Working Committee assured all aspirants of efforts to ensure the party emerges victorious in next year's general elections. The chairman of the council, Governor Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State, who spoke on behalf of the committee, appreciated the party for the opportunity given to them and expressed optimism to deliver on their part.
Welcome back. The international border between Nigeria and her neighboring countries is roughly 4,745 square kilometers long. The problem of insecurity as a result of these borderless borders in Nigeria has become one of the most intractable challenges facing the country today. Nigeria's border porosity and increase in crime waves. This is the crux of our discourse tonight on Dateline. Stay with us.
Borderlands are both melting pots and security hotspots. Regrettably, oftentimes they are neglected in the developmental strategies of the connected countries. They are an arena of cross-border crimes and represent a dynamic place of historically sustained cultural and socio-economic exchange at the same time. Consequently, worries of border porosity and fears of criminal activities spilling over from both communities are always increasing. Informal trade, both legal and illegal, is the most common activity in border communities, and despite increasing subnational and international cooperations, criminal cross-border activities still remain a key variable of instability in the West African sub-region, particularly among the connected countries.
Even though the land border has been open now for legitimate trade, arms and ammunition are banned. Importations of rice and vehicles is banned across, the land borders. The closure of land borders has been very, very effective, and I will urge the government to continue monitoring the situation to ensure that the influx of arms and ammunition is greatly curtailed.
The problem of porosity of border, we need to take it seriously. And that is the reason why my recent motion in the House was on this issue, porosity of our borders. Because that is where different things, that is used to come into the country. If attention is not paid to it, and we are all shouting bandits, this and that, we are just like scratching the thing on the surface.
In recent times, transnational criminal activities across the Nigerian borders are manifold. They include the trafficking of small arms and light weapons, narcotics and human beings, as well as cross-border armed attacks, after which criminals often retreat to the other side to evade prosecution. The risks presented by militant groups are amplified primarily through the prevalence of porous borders in the West African sub-region. Countries like Benin, Cameroon, Chad and Niger are all potential targets due to their proximity to Nigeria, their demographics and their socio-economic realities.
There's no way 15,836, if we deploy each and every one of us, will block those entrances. It's porous. In the dry season, from cement until you get to Mfu, is motorable. Motorcycles can move anywhere in between those areas.
Nigeria's borders with Benin and Chad are fairly short, that is 773 kilometers and 87 kilometers long, respectively. In comparison, Nigeria's borders with Niger and Cameroon span 1,497 kilometers and 1,690 kilometers, respectively. The porous nature of these borders heightens the potential spread of terrorist activities in Nigeria and into the neighboring countries.
Customs to actually reinforce its activities, like we have in the army. There is civilian military relations that are supposed to be activated. Now, it does not take the customs from deploying, professionals to the dialogue with these host communities, telling them the implications of abetting all those criminals.
Government at all levels should come together, look inwards on how to sensitize these communities surrounding these land borders, on how to see the dangers in accommodating arms while they work hand in hand with those people bringing in arms, those arm traffickers. After this sensitization, work closely with the security details. And again, you can also implore the youths in these communities to be able to come up with some measures they can be able to use to assist government to actualize this.
Funding infrastructural development towards enhancing border security is one way in which border control efforts can be supported. Many have also called for deeper collaboration between the various border agencies, and relevant legal instruments and framework should also be harmonized.
The immigration and the custom men should work with the other paramilitary organs, DSS, the civil defense, and other paramilitary organs like that. They should join hands together. We should not leave it to only immigration and custom men. Even we need to involve the community people.
Effective surveillance and the provision of operational vehicles to Nigerian Customs Service, to the police, to immigration, is highly recommended. Once we do this, we will be able to control the influx of arms and ammunition into illegal routes. It is only through effective surveillance and vigilance that you can do this.
Finally, regional and international organizations should support efforts geared at tightening borders and restricting the flow of criminal elements within the sub-region.
Welcome to the Split View segment of our program, Abuja Dispatch. And on Split Views tonight, we have the pleasure of meeting the National Commandant, Peace Corps of Nigeria, Professor Dixon Ako. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Now, as a security person, let me ask you, how is it that Nigeria finds itself at this present state of insecurity? How come?
If you look at the trend, you'll get to know that what we ought to do before now that we neglected is responsible for the security challenges we are passing through. And for a nation like Nigeria and a developing country like Nigeria, you need to be focusing into the future. As the population increases, as more youth are churned from educational institutions, graduating from tertiary and secondary school, every ideal nation plan ahead. And as you are planning, periodically you review the strategies where you are coming from, the kind of security strategies you are using. As we move on, if the security strategy remains static, definitely the consequence will be what we are passing through today.
Now, even right now, some people in some quarters are calling for a state of emergency in the security sector. Now, are you of the same opinion that the president should even call for a state of emergency so that let all hands be on deck, and face this?
Well, it depends on those calling for the state of emergency. It depends on the intentions. Nigeria is a country that we have over 36 states of the federal, including a federal capital territory with multi-ethnic and multi-religious dimension. So those calling for a complete shutdown or a complete approach, adopting a state of emergency, some of them may not be doing it in good faith. I will not subscribe to that. I won't believe that it has gotten to a level. There are countries, nations of the world that have been fighting perpetually war. They've never declared state of emergency on the security of the nation. Once you declare a state of emergency in any country or in any society, that shows there's a state of anarchy, there's a state of lawlessness, like security has broken down irretrievably, and that it has completely overwhelmed the security of security agencies. But as far as I'm concerned, the issue is still manageable if the approach is gotten right. It's still manageable. When some people kept to say that security has failed in this country, and I told somebody jokingly yesterday that if security has failed completely in Nigeria, I will even have the opportunity of coming to this office. We will even have any opportunity to attend social events. So as far as I'm concerned now is that the solution is there. If genuinely we want to resolve this issue, we know, you see, let also the security agencies be very, very accommodative. I mean, one, in terms of manpower they don't have, and you can also see clearly that the security personnel themselves, they are complaining of obsolete equipment. Now, let us talk about this, the manpower. We are having meeting with a very senior citizen, and I was surprised he gave us that figure, that in Egypt alone, The numbers of security personnel in Egypt, all put together, is about 1.4 million plus. Then in Nigeria, if genuinely, forget about amplified secure number, whereby people want to go to election, these people will tell us that they are moving hundreds of thousands security personnel to a state. If you start finding out what is the numerical strength of that agency that is saying they are deploying over 50,000, over 80,000 personnel, they may not be so, but psychologically, they may be working on the intelligence of any will-be lawbreaker. But if of a truth, putting the figure of security in Nigeria, as I was recently made to understand, is not to 600,000. For a population of over 200 million.
Now, one issue that is bothering many people is that you have some of these security challenges coming from one side of the country, basically from the northwest, northeast, and north central, as it were. Even though we have some, pockets across the country, but as it were, of what effect do you think this will be?
As far as I'm concerned, I will not subscribe to the fact that it's coming essentially from one part of the country. You see, in the 80s, or towards late 80s and early 90s, this kind of challenges was in the Southwest Axis, where we have this thing, Odua People's Congress. We know the mayhem being visited on the people. But when the leaders unanimously stood against it, it was successfully, they brought it down to its barest minimum. I was in Lagos then, and I know the level of anarchy being visited on the citizenry by Odua People's Congress. Then next, it moved from there, the South-South Axis, issue of oil bunkering, issue of kidnapping, and then, mind you, the kidnappers, their attention there was essentially focused on the expatriates and the high-profile workers in the oil industry. They went into that, bombing continued, so it was a high level of insecurity there in that region. Then all other sections of the country was calm, security-wise. But the former president, President Yaradua then, took the bull by the horn. I read in a paper that it got to a point that this vice president went into the shore, you understand me, to go and meet with the what will I call it, the militants. And before you know, based on sustained dialogue, the whole thing, that was what led to President Yaradua giving them amnesty. And there was relative peace until now that the agitation now is now building up. Now, after then, we have a semblance of such security challenges in the southeast. So it's a merry-go-round things, and the ability and capability of the leaders, of the elites, political elite, and the ethnic warlord to stand up and call their youth to order will be instrumental to resolving these security challenges.
And when you talk about political coloration, there are some agitations in some quarters calling for secession and all that. I mean, in your own thinking, maybe you can tell us more. What should be the response of those people that are, controlling these different groups?
As far as I'm concerned, agitation for separation is not the best option. Let us borrow a leaf from Sudan. Sudan was having internal conflicts for over a decade, for over 2 decades. And Sudan felt that the best way to go, let them give the Christian minority a state. That is what led to the creation of Southern Sudan. But have they known peace since then? So, separation is not the best option. If my views will be heard or my opinion will be taken, the best option is that let us all come together once again. There are times when things are going wrong. You call for re-examination. Review yourself, review the relationship. Social injustice can bring about a lot of challenges as we are facing today. Economic depression. And the mother of it all, there is no nation that can be secured when you have your armies of unemployed youth. You came in here now, you have over 60 youths, graduates. They would have been on the street. There are many of them that doesn't even have the opportunity where to even wake up from the house to go every day. There is a popular saying that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. When you have these armies of unemployed youth, graduate leaving school, I just pray that the future, the near future, is not more, the situation does not become more complex than what we are passing through today. These are part of issues that need to be addressed. And for the northern part of the country, I think last year, steps we are taking, laudable steps, salutary steps, taken by some governors in the core north, including the governor of Kaduna, where the issue of Almajiri was being addressed and they were clearing them from the street. I think there's no decent human being, no rational person that is well educated with sound upbringing will allow him or herself to be used to perpetrate what is happening now in the north. So let us also look at the angle of illiteracy. Illiteracy, if you are illiterate, you can be easily manipulated. Can anybody come and work on my intelligence as I'm sitting down now with my level of international exposure, my level of education? So issues, well, they should confront it frontally, how to eradicate totally issue of Almajiri in the north. Once this is done, the tendency for people to cajole and manipulate them to carry out unwholesome act will be seriously addressed.
Now we'll be talking with the National Commandant, Peace Corps of Nigeria, Professor Dixon Akko. Thank you for your time, sir.
You're most welcome.
Ekiti will be the first election that we'll be having in this dispensation of the APC. God has blessed our life. God has blessed my life in my political career. Once there's a contest, there'll be a winner and there'll be a loser. We are never, never on the losing side. We don't take that for granted. We are going to work the hardest we can to ensure we deliver our gubernatorial candidate as the next governor of Ekiti State. As we inaugurate this committee, I have one thing in the marching order of this party, and that is, don't come home crying. Don't come home crying. If there's a cry, let them go and cry to their principals, not us.
That is our package tonight on Abuja Dispatch. For further information, comments, and suggestions, you can contact us on any of our various social media platforms. Thanks for sharing your moments with us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we'll bring you another refreshing package. Same time, same station. Adegboyega Arogbodo is my name. Have a good night.